Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. $46,000 in cash was found in a home from 1950. What if it was gold and silver? Let's explore. There's a lot of good reasons to save money, and that has been the case for as long as we can remember. People used to save whatever coins or cash they had, and many times they would save them in the bank, but you can make a pretty good argument, especially if you're concerned about the banks and what's going on in the world, to save some cash at home. In fact, I highly encourage it, especially these days, to have a little bit of this paper money in your home for emergency situations, especially if what some people fear could be a bank holiday that could come as of sorts. And we have essentially seen something very similar to that during the pandemic in 2020. So access to banks is not always a sure thing. And that may have been part of the motivation, although we don't know exactly what the motivation could be as to why there was a cachet of cash of $46,000 under some floorboards in a Massachusetts home. Let's get a little bit of an idea here. The New York Post did a story about this a few days ago. A professional treasure hunter from Connecticut was hired by a Massachusetts family to investigate a rumor that money was hidden in their home, and he dug up $46,000 under the floorboards. The family had hired carpenters to search for the loot, which was supposedly concealed in the house back in the 1950s. But when no one came up with anything, they turned to a Groton-based Keith Willey, the treasure sleuth, who in 2016 found the wedding ring in the waters off Waterford, Connecticut for a retired teacher. Last week took his skills to Western Massachusetts, where he combed the family's attic. And actually there's a video on it which I think is pretty interesting to watch. It talks about how the history behind the home and what they actually found here. So he says, I got a couple of signals. I'm going to take my endoscope camera and take a look under the floorboards and into the cracks in the corner, Willie says in this video. And when I dropped it in for the second or third hole, I saw something weird. It had letters and numbers on it. It was a small silver something with a slot in it. I realized it's a keyhole. The long-awaited treasure finally emerged inside of a gray metal box. And boy, it is like taking a step back into time, and where there were 10s, 20s, ones, to the tune of $46,000 in packets wrapped in original bank straps. And it is something to see. These notes, completely uncirculated, and many of them were silver certificates. A family member who identified herself as Karen said the discovery came after decades of wondering if the stories of the hidden money were true, and she's just glad it was found. Karen told the news outlet, adding that they have not yet decided what to do with the extra cash. Now, a lot of these notes were uncirculated. Well, all of them were uncirculated original bank strap rolls or bundles, stacks of cash, which was really cool to see. And there were uncirculated silver certificates in there, which do carry somewhat of a premium. But even at an uncirculated condition, it's probably not going to be as much as how much was lost during all those years in terms of value. That's right. Because we know, and this is a lesson for us all, that though to find $46,000 in cash and old notes, most of those notes, especially the ones that aren't silver certificates, you essentially will be able to trade for face value, or they just will circulated cash. $46,000 is a heck of a lot of money for any of us. That could help take a big chunk out of your home. It could buy you a new car. A lot of different things that you could do with $46,000. But imagine if you would have put that money into gold and silver. That's right, gold and silver. These are the metals that we know and understand to do one thing, and that is to preserve their value, to maintain a store of value. And no matter what you feel about silver or gold as money, or no matter what you feel about currency as money, we know that gold and silver provide a more stable store of value over the course of a long period of time. And that's why we hold the metal. So what is the calculation here? Well, $46,000 that were pulled from underneath these floorboards in 1950, and adjusted for inflation today would be worth $505,574.36. Now, that is over a 999.1% in cumulative rate of inflation. This is from US inflationcalculator.com. Now, how do you adjust for inflation? What are they utilizing? Well, it's adjusted. This is from the latest U.S. government CPI data. That's Consumer Price Index. And it's adjusted for inflation to calculate the cumulative inflation rate through this particular time, which is around April 2021. The U.S. Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics, they release CPI data with inflation data, on a monthly basis there. So this is where we're at now, and this is taken from those. So that means the dollar has lost a lot of value. It's lost a lot of value during that course of time, which means that inflation is one of those sure things. People understand the saying there's only two things that are certain. That's death and taxes. Well, I would say there's three things: death, taxes, and inflation. You can count on all three of those. And this is a lesson that the original holder of these notes that put them away inside of his home in 1950, if he hadn't put gold and silver in there, he'd be much better off. Now, the one thing you might be screaming at your screen and saying, well, Sal, gold was illegal to own in 1950. That's true. But there's still a lot of silver around. Silver was utilized in pocket change. But at the time, since it was utilized as money, circulated as money during that time, what does that tell us? That they probably didn't foresee that silver would be worth so much in 2021, but indeed it is, and it's certainly something that could have been certainly adjusted for, but storing all that silver in there, $46,000 worth at the time, in paper money or in coins may not have been practical, and my guess is probably they were hoping to cash that or utilize that money long before. But I think it just goes to show you that it is a lesson in what true value is. And this example provides a profound statement that we, as holders of precious metals that accumulate these metals, we stack them, we hoard them, if you want to take a derogatory aspect or view of it. And we know that in the long run, it'll pay off. We will preserve our wealth with gold and silver. That's what it's about. Gold and silver stand and withstand the test of time. They have, and they will continue for centuries to come. So I hope you found this lesson insightful here. And what would you do if you found a bunch of cash in the attic? From what I understand, they have maybe turned it into the original owner or the last owner or what have you, but I'm not sure exactly the outcome of that story. But there it is. Really interesting indeed to see. I can't categorize this video under my Found Precious Metals playlist, but you're more than welcome to check that playlist for stories finding gold and silver. This should be a new series, which I'm not going to really do, but it's about the losses of finding a bunch of cash from days gone by. they lost quite a bit of money that could have been there had they had something tangible that could have stood the test of time in terms of maintaining its value. So $46,000 could have been $506,000 if it were in the form of gold and silver. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch this video, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and after all that, subscribe.